In its 20-year publication history, Wizard Magazine never met a top 10 list it didn't like.
Top 10 comics, top 10 heroes and villains, top 10 writers and artists. They were top 10 crazy.
Now we're turning the tables on the comics magazine whose rankings created monthly controversy and hype by ranking the output of Wizard: The Guide to Comics from the 90s and beyond.
This is Wizard's Top 10. Hey everybody, we're back finally with a new installment of Wizard's Top 10. And this one is a doozy. This is, believe it or not, quite surprising to me that it's not more than some of the other ones we've done. And this particular issue or episode, we're going to be doing Batman. So these are the top 10 covers of Wizard with Batman on it. And these are our personal preference. If you have other ones, be sure to let us know. If you are a Patreon subscriber, we'll put all these covers on our Patreon and you can check them out and give us a feedback and so on and so forth and have some fun with it. We'll also share some of our favorites on our Instagram. But
yeah, like you said, Michael, it is surprising that Batman was only on 25 covers prominently. That's what we have here. We even had to dig into a few. Okay, there's a JLA cover here or there. There's a cover he's sharing with Superman, like really like Wolverine, Spider-Man. I mean, these characters were on it a ton, and Batman, not so much.
I wonder if it's a rights thing or who knows. So Adam and I have put together our list, and we have some pretty good covers to talk about. And I will let Adam kick it off.
Okay, well, my first cover is issue number 66. And this is one where he is sharing the cover with Captain America. So this is kind of fun because this is interesting. I don't think it was like a huge hit, but John Byrne wrote a Batman Captain America crossover one shot. And so that was a comic that was coming out. The fact that it made the cover of Wizard, I think, is just because it was a fanboy dream.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will say this is a Tom Grummett cover, and I just love Tom Grummett. I mean, just from this era, Superboy, everything he was doing was so beautiful. But his Batman, what I enjoy about it, because it wasn't the standard yet at this time, it's a non-oval bat symbol on the chest, so just the bat on there. And he has kind of a Silver Age style cowl because the shadow. And I love just that classic look that he's bringing here. It's so awesome.
What's funny about this particular cover or this particular illustration of Batman in particular, it has elements of like you said, the old and the new. Like this particular way that they did the bat symbol on his chest was way ahead of its time, like way before they did anything like that. But it also harkens back to the early days of like the original Batman costume as well. It's a very cool cover. I think the way that they tie in both Captain America and Batman looks really, really nice. It's a really cool cover. I definitely agree.
All right, what's your first pick, Michael?
My first pick is number 89. And this is a Jim Lee cover?
Yeah.
It is a Jim Lee cover, right? Yeah. And it's almost like like as if he was sort of reimagining the Dark Knight Returns sort of a look. And it's got this sort of grizzled Batman, but younger than Dark Knight Returns, but he's big and broad. It almost feels like he just could have made this Wolverine and just threw a cape on him and a different cowl.
He's got the fist up that the claws could be coming right out. Yeah.
And he fills up most of the page, and it's just a nice, welcoming to Batman. I like the utility belts, the pocket style, which is very Jim Lee-ish to do that sort of style. Utility belt. It's a pretty cool cover. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, Batman the Brawler. That's what it looks like there. That's pretty cool. All right, my next one involves Jim Lee as well, and this was, I don't know how I didn't remember this and call this one of my favorites of all time Wizard covers, but this is Jim Lee and Alex Ross getting together. Now, in a previous one, it was the Spider-Man one, we had Joe Quesada and Alex Ross. Yeah. So the idea of him painting over these like seminal artist pencils is amazing. Yeah. So this is it's really fun because you have Batman and Superman posed, kind of like up on a rooftop, and the art really speaks for itself. Like they are the world's finest. drawn by the world's finest artists. The dimension in this is what I love the most. Just like, oh man, not just the shadows, but just the way that Alex Ross has added like this, like the girth of both characters is so prevalent, but it makes you this like outside of even regular Alex Ross art, something about the Jim Lee pencils just
Yeah.
gives it like an extra oomph, and I love it so much, even though Superman looks demonic.
This is issue 155,
Yeah.
and what's interesting about the Superman, it almost looks like Bizarro in a way.
Yeah, like because of the lighting. Yeah, his
Yeah.
skin looks very pasty.
But it's a very beautiful cover, and it feels like it's very much Jim Lee poses over, or under an Alex Ross or painting, which is wild. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know, when in the world are you ever going to see that again, kind of thing? The two of them, collaborating in that regard.
I can't, yeah,
So
I can't believe this might have been the only time. It's awesome.
my next one is also an Alex Ross, which is one of my favorite Batman covers, bar none, is issue number 99. It's Batman with almost all of his rogues sort of attacking him, and he's got his, hand over the Joker's throat, and Harley Quinn is on him, and Poison Ivy's trying to kiss him, and the Riddler is there, and the Penguin, the Scarecrow, Two-Face. Like, I think there's even Talia kind of hidden behind the Wizard logo.
Yeah, it looks
It's
like it.
it's just a beautiful cover. It's that really traditional Alex Ross sort of way of drawing Batman and almost like a barely fabric, costume with no armor kind of thing. It's just, it feels almost coming to life. It's just a fantastic cover and it's beautiful. And I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it harkens back to me. I remember there was this like I think it was one of like the Legend of the Batman books or something like that, but it was like an Arkham Asylum thing, and I remember these ads where it was like every single villain, and I think they were putting him on trial or something
Yeah.
like that. So like that's what it reminds me of. Like they're not like beating him up. They're just like
They're,
harassing
they're
him.
almost like trying to tackle him in a way or like hold
Yeah.
him down in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. All right, my next one here is from issue 159. Now, here's the thing. The inking is not great on this. I like usually a more defined ink line on my characters, but I love the classic, just the gray and the blue, because you were
Mhm.
not seeing that during this time with like the bright, blue and the very light gray, like it's a fantastic look. It feels like superpowers, like, and he's being tackled by the other members of the Justice League, so I really just love the look of the costume, if not the art itself necessarily. It's Michael Turner art, who,
Yeah.
again, I've said in the past, I can kind of take it or leave it, but I still think it's pretty dynamic.
Do you know what this whole thing revolves around? This
Oh, I
particular
see here
cover?
it says Identity Crisis Shocker. So this is when everybody was mad at Batman for doing a thing.
Well, it's not that Batman. No, Batman's actually mad at them
Oh,
because
that's right.
because it's revealed in Crisis of Conscience, which comes out right before Infinite Crisis, is they wiped part of Batman's memory when they wiped Dr. Light's memory after doing some horrific stuff. And Batman figures it out and he flips out and he goes after all of them. And now they're trying to stop him. And that's what the reveal is.
That's right. I was conflating it with the Tower of Babel, where they were
Yeah.
mad at him. Yeah.
So the thing I like about this particular look is, and I go back and forth about the really long ears and the cowl, but I just sort of like the way they're so pronounced in this, and it's kind of an interesting look. And I do like the blue and the gray sort of element. It's very classic, and this whole identity crisis story is very classic looking characters in a way in their art, which is kind of cool. So
All right.
it's a very good cover. So my next one is number 112. And number 112 is another Jim Lee cover. And for some reason it wants me to download it. No, it's not a Jim Lee cover. I thought it was. This is what's his name? Oh, yeah, it's a McDaniel cover. I forget what this is
Oh, really?
for.
It's Scott McDaniel who was doing
Yeah,
Nightwing?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I just like the pose. I like how the cape sort of like flails in the wind a little bit. He looks extra muscular and boxy in a way, which I don't always dig, but I sort of like it in this one. I find the glove to be very interesting because it's sort of like almost defines his like arm in a way.
Well, you know what it looks like to me is Lion-O from Thundercats, his
Yes.
claw that he wore. That's what it looks like.
And you know what's sort of interesting about this particular cover? The way the light hits Batman, it's almost as if it's either the bat signal or the moonlight. I don't know, just the way the light kind of comes across him and then he's partially in shadow. I just really like the look of this cover. It's interesting, but it's also simple in a way, which I kind of dig.
Well, like you say, it's very nice when Batman takes up the majority of the space, when you're
Yeah.
really seeing like the full impact of Batman. He's not like in the background, because a lot of these that we had to choose from, it's he's swinging through the air in the background or
Yeah.
something, and you're just like, that's cool, but like you can barely see him. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. My next one here is Wizard number 229. So this is one of the final Wizard covers. And this is David Finch drawing Batman. Now, I wasn't reading any David Finch Batman stories at this time, but it feels like the beginning of the modern era of the character. For better or for worse, this is how everybody is drawing him now, I feel
Yeah.
like. And so it felt like very important for that reason, because this is coming out in 2011. Um, but also, or actually 2010, I guess. So this is right on the cusp. But he is so like, he's like really in shadow in this one, and he is just like, he's mad. Whoever he's looking at, he's like, you really want to do that, criminal? He's like, I'm gonna come after you. I'm curious what the headline of it, Batman Begins Again, means in 2010. I'm like, what were they relaunching at DC? What was that all about? But the last thing I'll say is, I really like the fact that it looks like the bat signal is somehow behind him and it's going over the wizard logo.
Yeah.
Like, I can't like see if it's because it's if it was being shot on him, then he would be lit up, and he's not. So
Yeah.
maybe it's from behind the other side it's shooting up. I don't know.
I also like the way the cape sort of blows in the wind in a way. It almost feels like a Spawn cape in a way. Like
Yeah,
it has its
the
own sort
curl
of,
there.
yeah, its own sort of entity. I forget what happens in 2010 because 2011 they start the New 52. I
Mhm.
wonder if this is right after he comes back from RIP,
Um,
like because there was that time where Dick Grayson and Damian were Batman and Robin,
mhm.
and I think this is when they sort of bring Bruce Wayne back at some
Okay.
point for like 6 months before they just reboot the whole thing. um, but I do like it's very heavy on the grays and the blacks in a way, the way they color it. And I dig it. It's kind of cool, but it is very much like if you look at like Jason Fabok and all those guys that draw him now,
Yeah.
this is how they model their character after,
I feel
very
like
much
every
so.
cover I see when I go to the comic book store now looks like this.
Yeah. No, it's a cool cover though. Definitely interesting. So my next one is issue 175. And 175, I just like it because of the fact that it's Batman and Superman. Oh, Batman and Superman. He is sort of swinging in the especially literally just said, but I had to have like a, world's finest cover in the mix here. It's really just traditional in that sense in a way. It's pretty cool. What's cool about it is it's two artists on the cover. So one person drew Batman, one person drew Superman,
And it's
and
Adam and Andy Kubert, which
yeah,
they have done the mashup cover in the past where they did Wolverine versus Sabretooth. And we
yeah,
talked about that. And here they are again. What's interesting, though, is when you look at Andy Kubert's Batman, he has, his line that he's swinging on, his bat rope, whatever you want to call it, but it's very Joe Quesada Daredevil-esque. It's got like all the weird angles to it. It's
yes,
twisting around all over the place. So I find that kind of funny that he has that influence there.
it does, and I like it. It you know, like many times when you see Batman swinging on a rope, it's like, where is he swinging from? If Superman's flying below him, where is he flying? Where is it? How does this, you know, geometry? This doesn't make sense. Like if there's a, but it works. It's cool. It's Batman. It's you know. And even Superman's hand is kind of funny in the way it's sort of pointed, but I dig it.
Woo!
It's
Yeah,
sort of like
what's going on there?
a weird sort of scoop, but I like the cover. I had to have one Batman and Superman in there, so there it is. There you go.
All right. Well, my last one here is coming back to Jim Lee. Apparently, I can't get enough Jim Lee Batman. This is issue 134. And what I say about this is Jim Lee could do serious expressions better than anyone. Like conveying the no nonsense Batman. He just gets to the core of the character when he does it. Because this is not a Batman who is like posing. He's not angry. He's just looking at you and he's just like, do you know what you're getting into? Like, I'm taking care of the Joker one more time. He's got the Joker that he's holding him by like the back of his coat here. He's all tied up and he's just like, I have to do this again. But he's just like, I love the pose of it. Although
Is this
having
Hush? Is this from Hush or is it like or
uh
after Hush?
I don't know because what is this? This
2002.
is yeah, 2002. I'm not sure. It sounds about the right time because that was his first big foray into
Yeah.
Batman. But what I like about it too is that like it's the motif of Jim Lee. I love watching like okay, we've seen so many Jim Lee covers, and in all of them, Batman is pulling up his cape in his
Mhm.
fist from the side.
Yes.
Like that's like the classic pose. So I just think that's funny. You can say, okay, that's Jim's thing. Got it.
So yes, it is actually from Hush because Hush premiered or debuted October of 2002. So, and
Okay.
this is November of 2002. So it's something to do
And
with
this
or
was
like
officially the October issue. It's got the Halloween costume contest promoted on the
yeah.
front. So yeah.
So there you go. Now, my last or my favorite or number one cover, if you will, is based on a particular Batman book that most people don't like. And I just love the art. I love the style. I love, the collaboration. And this is issue 168, and it's a Jim Lee cover again. And this is for All Star Batman and Robin. And this is when he collaborated with Frank Miller. And it's a very dark, grizzled Batman. It's not your conventional, it's almost too dark of a Batman. But I just love this story, and it it ends on such a cliffhanger that I wish they went and they could have done more with it. But I love the art, I love the style, I love like the classic Robin with more of a moderny Batman look design. I love the design of the thing. It's just a beautiful cover, and I wish that they did more with this particular run of All Star as opposed to like All Star Superman, which is incredible and has this beautiful arc that ends. All Star Batman and Robin doesn't. It just stops and that's it.
So what you're saying is it wasn't all Batman painting himself entirely yellow in a yellow room like that. That
No.
wasn't the whole series. It got darker than that.
Oh, it gets dark. It's crazy. It's a
But
very violent Batman.
you're like you said, the Robin really pops, and that was the other surprising thing to me throughout all of these covers. There were only two where he appeared with Robin. And
Yeah.
so you have this one where it's that the classic Dick Grayson Robin. I'm assuming in All Star.
Yeah.
But then the other one is issue 208. And is that Damian Robin or is
No,
that
that's Tim Drake.
so Tim just got a full red costume at one point? Okay, I forgot
Yes.
about that.
In
Yeah.
yeah, he had a full red because basically he it's either right before or right after he drops I think it's right before the Red Robin suit. This is what he does, and he evolves into the Red Robin suit.
Okay.
But I'm just surprised, like in all the hype of the mid '90s when Tim Drake first comes out, there's no covers of him with Batman at all. Like in that early original Tim Drake costume, I'm shocked by it. It's so weird.
Yeah, well, it just felt like he was such a big character, but it was that weird period because when he launched is the same period when like Darkhawk launched and all this stuff. There were these big characters of the very early 90s, and Wizard came in right after they hit. And so it was like, well, they're not new, so we can't really promote them. But like, for example, they did a Darkhawk cover that they just didn't ever run because there's like it's too late for that character now to be a big thing. So yeah, so I would have loved to have had a Tim Drake cover though at some point. But either way, we want to throw it out to you there in the comments below. You should all tell us what your favorite Wizard Batman cover is. There were many more to choose from. I'm sure you can find them. So yeah, drop it in the comments below. Take a look and tell us. I mean, we got to give honorable mention to issue 103 with Batman Beyond on the cover. So that was kind of a little not traditional Batman, but cool that he made the cover.
See, I was considering that, but I wanted to keep it traditional Batman. But it was cool that like this character that essentially came out of television was not originally a comic book, moved into that mainstream. Now, I think we missed some.
Oh, really? Are you finding
Oh,
others?
yeah. Do we have Wizard 104 on this list?
Hmm.
No. That's a that's a Jeff Loeb cover. I thought there was a cover with him and Nightwing at one point as
Huh.
well.
I mean, it could be. I mean, like, as I flip through here, let me see where my 104 is. Um, oh yeah, you're right. So there's 104 right there. Somehow I missed that as I was scanning through.
And I
Interesting. So that's a Tim
I
Sale,
think
whatever.
Adam just screwed up for once. Holy moly.
Can you
I
believe
might have
what
one.
would you have picked that one? That's the question.
No, I wouldn't, but hold on. There's one other. I want to get it. Hold on.
Okay. Look at Michael topping me with his wizard knowledge, doing his research. Now I have one more to scan. I have so many issues. Sometimes I get blind to Batman. Blind like a bat? Anybody? Oh, I'm vamping here. I'm vamping. All right, let's see what Michael comes back to us with here.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right.
Wizard number 93. I didn't see this one on the list.
Ooh, with the darkness. Yeah, I think I just couldn't tell it was Batman. I think you're right.
Okay, well, there were a few more. So maybe there's about 27 of them. But
Yeah.
either way, I still think the ones we picked are definitely the best ones of the lot. And I'm just sitting there I'm like, wait a minute, I know there was other ones. It's so funny. But did we get the one with Azrael and Batman? Oh, there is one. Issue number 46 has Tim Drake.
What in the world? How am I missing these? Oh, you're right. You're right. I do remember that one now.
Because we got
Man.
Azrael in the background.
Oh, we blew it on this one, guys. So there's probably like 30 Batman covers, and we missed them. So we're gonna add those to our scans for Patreon, though. So if you want to look, go ahead and help out over to Patreon, patreon.com/Wizards Comics. Get nice scans of all these covers. And Michael, excellent work there.
Little detective work here. Look at that. Hey, now. So the other thing I want to mention is you can follow us on our social media. You can go to Facebook and Twitter. It's at Wizards Comics. You can go to Instagram. It's Wizards_Comics. We have all kinds of great content. We post, episode scans. We have great conversations, all kinds of cool stuff. Every once in a while, when I remember, I post little like surveys or questions on the Facebook group. I'm gonna maybe post the question of people's top 10 covers on the Facebook group as well and see what people think. But as always, you can follow us on our podcast and listen to us anywhere podcasts are available, iTunes, Podbean, etc., and listen, subscribe. We love having you around, and you can go to our TeePublic store too and get some cool merch.
All right. Well, and that'll do it for this edition of Top 10. Again, stay subscribed here on YouTube for more. And until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.